Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. And if you're a boxer or a fighter who's used to winning, knocking people out, you can start to make excuses. And lo and behold, say it's not so, France's Ngannou has let me down. But maybe he's just shedding some light into some of the troubles that fighters experience going over to Saudi Arabia for huge fights. Now, if you didn't know, let me pull it up so I can share it with you. Francis Ngannou actually came out, and many people feel, I kind of don't know what to feel about it, but I'm going to tell you from experience, he may be telling the truth. But Francis Ngannou felt like he was falling asleep warming up for Anthony Joshua. And he went on to say, no excuses about this. I was the only one that didn't show up on fight night. So when he said he didn't fall asleep, I said, damn, what's he mean by that? Falling asleep warming up before he went in the ring with AJ? That's odd. But anyway, he says, hey, look, I didn't feel quite right in the moments leading up to this fight against AJ. But I'm not making any excuses for my loss. Now, it was his second professional boxing match. Okay? Now, in the first boxing match, he had a little success. He had a lot of success against Tyson Fury. But he didn't have a sliver of the success he had against Tyson Fury, against AJ. He got knocked down in the first and totally tranquilized in the second round, out cold. But what he said is, we all knew it could happen, that he could get knocked out. I wasn't seeing it happen that way. I thought I would be able to knock out AJ, but I knew it could happen because this is heavyweight boxing. At least I was prepared for if I was on the losing end of the stick. Now, before he walked into the ring, he said, like I mentioned, things didn't feel quite right as he was warming up. He's sure it's a feeling that past opponents may have felt going against him, which is why he's not diminishing Joshua's performance. He's sure that other opponents may have felt that going against him. So he doesn't want to make any excuses to diminish Joshua's performance. Are we talking about fatigue and jet lag? I know when you're stressed. I know when you're dealing with anxiety and you have those things on your mind, your body will crash. But to feel like you want to fall asleep while warming up, I don't know about that. But he says, I remember being in the locker room trying to warm up, and bro, it wasn't going. I was falling asleep. I'm sweating, but I'm falling asleep. But I assume that's how some people I have fought, some people that I beat have felt before. But it was basically my first time to feel that. That's why I kind of took a couple of days out, took some time for me. I obviously had to reflect on everything that's happened through the fight. So what he's doing now is trying to figure out what went wrong, because in his mind, anything can happen, but he doesn't understand how he lost. Francis Ngannou, we're all cheering you on. I'm going to tell you what happened. You are a novice boxer who has learned a few things. You're a great MMA fighter. You're strong. Your stand-up game is great. You can grapple. You, as an overall fighter, beats everybody. But you went up against an Olympic gold medalist and somebody who's been fighting at an extremely high level in boxing for several years now. You probably weren't going to beat Anthony Joshua, no matter how good you were as an MMA fighter, how athletic you are, how strong you are, because skills pay the bills. But one thing I'll say is, Ngannou, he didn't address the timing of the fight, but we know the card in Saudi Arabia was ridiculous. Talking about a long, long day. That's one thing I learned the hard way with those fights in Saudi. I like to watch the undercards and everything. I don't do that shit no more. If I gotta go to the gym, if my sons want me to come eat with them at school, if I gotta cut the grass, if I gotta do stuff in the house, I don't care, because I know the real deal that we all want to see, it's not coming off for like 6 hours. I can only imagine these guys, especially if what I think happened is Ngannou was still experiencing jet lag. I can only imagine what their bodies are going through. But anyway, man, he did say Joshua and his team executed their plan properly. He takes his hats off to him, but he just felt like something was wrong. He's not blaming anyone. He said that's just part of the game. He said he was conscious right after the knockout, and since everything's been good, he's still going to run some medical work just to make sure. He needs to, because those shots he got hit with, he was out on his feet. He was out on his feet after the second round, that first shot. It was like when George Foreman hit what's that boy's name, man? The left-handed fighter, Michael Moore. He hit him with the first right hand and knocked him out on his feet, but he was still there. And then George Foreman threw the second one and put him out cold. And Michael Moore even said he was out after the first right hand, but nobody realized it. And that's what happened to Ngannou. He was out after that second round, that first right hand. He was already out. And the second right hand damn near killed him. But no matter what, he says he's not done with boxing. He's not done with MMA. He has a huge opponent that he has to fight, a 6'10" guy, supposed to be a knockout artist. He's supposed to be fighting him in the PFL coming up soon. But what he did say is he wants to fight Deontay Wilder. Now, this is my thing. Francis Ngannou comes over, fights Tyson Fury, loses, makes $10 million. Comes over, fights Anthony Joshua, makes $20 million, loses. If he chooses to fight Deontay Wilder after this PFL match, right? Because Deontay Wilder's chasing after Anthony Joshua. But if he chooses to fight Deontay Wilder, I'm telling you right now, Deontay Wilder takes that fight. Now, if you ask me who do I think wins, I don't know. Because just going off of the way Wilder looked in his last fight, I think Ngannou has a damn good chance. I really do. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Ngannou is Joseph Parker. I'm not saying that. I just think he has a good chance, at least to represent himself well. But I mean, we just gotta wait and see. There's so much fun going on in the heavyweight division right now. But we know the three-headed monster is Usyk, Fury, and AJ right now. Everyone else, they seem to just be kind of caught up in a riptide and just getting pulled out further and further away from the sand where the three-headed monster is. And they just got to figure out a way to get out of that riptide, swim sideways, man, so you can get closer to land and find yourself re-engaging with one of the heads on that three-headed monster, because the longer they stay caught up in that damn riptide and losing or being inactive, the further out they're going to get, and it's going to be hard to figure their way out to get back to land. I'm just telling you, and that's from experience. The longer you wait, the harder it is, man. But that being said, I personally think he may have had jet lag. And if you don't know what jet lag is, and I didn't know this, right? Jet lag describes common sleep problems, such as insomnia and other symptoms people experience after traveling a long distance quickly. Now, when you travel across more than 2 time zones by plane, your body's internal clock, or circadian rhythm, needs time to adjust to the new sleep and wake cycles at your destination. This happens to everyone, not everyone, but most fighters who are coming over to Saudi Arabia. They're having a disruption of their circadian rhythm. Now, you say, okay, what's a circadian rhythm? Those are patterns your body follows based on a 24-hour day. These rhythms tell your body when to sleep and when to wake up. They also affect several other body processes, such as your hormones, digestion, and body temperature. Now, if his circadian rhythm, Francis Ngannou, was thrown off, that means his hormones could have been thrown off, his digestion, his body temperature, and of course, fatigue. Because your body sets these rhythms naturally and they're guided by your brain. But outside factors such as light can affect these rhythms too. For example, when light enters your eyes, cells send a message to your brain that it can't stop producing melatonin, a hormone that helps you sleep. So if Francis Ngannou was tired hours before he had to fight Joshua and start warming up, that means that he may have been trying to find somewhere to lay down and catch a nap. But with all those lights on and so much activity, I mean, his brain wasn't able to produce the melatonin that it needed so that he can go and sleep. And it's just horrible if that's the cause. But I'm gonna tell you right now, man, I think most of us have experienced it. With a long period sitting on a plane, getting over there to your destination, having difficulty falling asleep, you're drowsy during the day. If you do fall asleep, maybe you wake up, family members calling you. There's so many things that can cause that extreme tiredness and starting to feel like you're not yourself, which is what Francis Ngannou felt like. It sounds to me like he just had jet lag. He was jet lagged. So if he can fight in Saudi Arabia again, France excuses needs to just get over there maybe a month prior, 3 weeks prior. I don't know how far in advance he arrived, but goddamn, do like Tyson Fury. Get out there a month, 2 months prior, and if Turkey Al-Sheikh will host you, and get yourself on schedule. But I don't know just how early he arrived. But I'll tell you what, I do know people, remember, I'm a retired guy. I know people, when we used to go deployments and stuff, they just couldn't get on schedule. Even trying to go to sleep, some of them just couldn't do it. Others had their wife call at a certain time. They want to stay up and talk to their kids. So they intentionally kept their body on the time zone so that they could be on the same time zone with their family. But there are others who, they didn't have those, attachments to family and stuff. They just couldn't figure it out. And they struggled. I tell you, they come to work. That feeling, that exhaustion is horrible. I'm telling you, I experienced that shit. Every time you relocate, especially going overseas, that shit was horrible, man. Because you wake up at, like, let's say, 11, you get there, whenever the plane lands, they give you a day to acclimate. And let's say you fall asleep, you're waking up at, let's say 3 in the afternoon or whatever time, and you can't go to sleep. By the time you start getting tired, it's time for you to take a shower and go to work. And you go to work the whole day dying, just looking for an opportunity to get the hell away from work, to go back and sleep. But eventually you get on schedule. But the first couple of days, boy, it is rough. So it sounds to me like France excuses just had jet lag. But bottom line is, I think he should have just not said anything. Because I understand what he's trying to say. But the bottom line is, it sounds like an excuse. Francis, jet lag, no jet lag, you're not beating AJ. Simple. Y'all keep cool, I'm in the breeze.